Atomic Mass Games has finally realized that I'm a very big deal and sent me the new spiders, free of charge. So I shall submit to their groveling and paint one of these models. And of course, they only sent me 3 boxes, so obviously they've only earned me painting the smallest one on camera. So Spider Ham it is. To start off, let me recede into my fake, nice on-camera persona. I assembled these minis off camera, but I do really think that AMG has elevated their game here. A bunch of Spider Ham's connection points overlap with the seams on his costume hiding his gaps, which I am super thankful for, since I really don't care for gap filling. The only issue I had was that I accidentally clipped off the peg for attaching his head. Silk, Noir, and 2099 all come with alternate heads, but I think the vast majority of people will use the Hat Noir and the Mask 2099. Although Ryan Farmer from the Strike Better podcast, link in the description, has a really cool looking Noir conversion where he swapped the hat on one of the other heads. And then for Silk, she has long and short haired options, which I think most people will not want to paint the long hair, even though I think it adds more motion to the piece. I've decided to paint Ham in subassembly to make it a bit easier to get my brush and camera into certain spots. I'm starting off with an airbrush prime with the Vallejo surface primer, but you can use a rattle can here. This is just easier for me. Then we're going to set aside Ham and focus on the base. I like to paint the base of a model first because I feel that it helps preserve my enthusiasm for a mini all the way through the process. So many times I've been excited to paint a model, then I finish painting the figure and I no longer want to paint it even though it's still quite far from done. For my New York Street bases, I base coat with Stonewall Gray by Vallejo, but if you're a Games Workshop painter, this is very similar to Rakarth Flesh or Deneb Stone. You can also use armycrafter.com, not a sponsor, to find color matches inside your collection. Then I use Agrax Earthshade to bring out all the texture in the base. Next, we're going to do a 2-layer dry brush sequence, first with Stonewall Gray to bring back our mid-tone, then a lighter highlight that is a mix of 50% bold titanium white and 50% Stonewall Gray. And that's our messy stage out of the way. Next we use Monument Hobbies Payne's Gray. Hey look, this paint has my name on it, to paint the grate on the base. Then I do a very simple shade with black ink in the recesses and a quick highlight by mixing a little white with the Payne's Gray. For the POW on the base, we're going to do a fluorescent transition. The number 1 rule of painting with fluorescent paints is start with a white base coat. So we do just that. We base coat white, then we do a transition of fluorescent yellow to fluorescent orange. Then I hit the tops with a red ink to finish the base off. We hit it with that nice black base rim.
Before we get to the fun part of the model, can I ask you to do the YouTube pleasantries? There's a bunch of stuff going on in this video that makes me think it's not going to perform particularly well in the YouTube algorithm. And I really like making hobby content, and we don't get to do that very much on this channel. So if you hit the like button, it would help me out a whole bunch.
I base coat Ham with Blood Red by Scale 75. I really like the scale color reds as they are very matte and they add to the hand-drawn feel we are going for here. If you don't have an airbrush for this step, I'd recommend that you prime Ham white so that you can build up opacity easier. Okay, time to do a little painting hack with oil washes. I talked about using oil paints in my very first Marvel Crisis Protocol video about painting cars from the core set. You just mix the oils with some mineral spirits and put the oils on and they'll wick into the recesses on their own. Then you go back over the mini with a Q-tip or makeup sponge and the wash just rubs right. Okay, let's paint the hammer. I base coat with Walnut by Scale 75, then move on to some highlights with a mixture of walnut and sandalwood, painting lines that follow the grain pattern on the hammer. Then with a sepia ink, I do the same thing, but as shadows, and I focus them more towards the bottom of the hammer. Moving back to Spider-Ham, now that I've reattached his head, we're going to block in all the blue from the spider suit with Mediterranean blue, then highlight it with sky blue. After the mishap with the oil wash, I got a little impatient. After all, I'm trying to get this video out before the model releases. And I don't want to wait for the oil wash to dry properly before I wipe away the excess. So the capillary action worked against me, and the Q-tips pulled a lot of the pigment out of the recesses. So I have gone back in with an acrylic ink and redefined the spider webbing. Then went back in with blood red to block back in my mid-tone. Then I did a simple highlight with Antares red. With that, we just had the finishing touches, like whitening the eyes and blocking in and highlighting the spider logo. We blocked in the eyes with black before painting the cartoon eyes with white. The spider logo was also blocked in with black and highlighted with Payne's gray. Oh, what is this? A little cartoon lettering? All right, I guess we can put this little fun touch in too. Let's paint this guy white and go through the same fluorescent progression as before so that it ties in with the POW on the base. Then with a brush, I paint the outline black to give the effect as much punchy contrast as possible. While painting the progression, I lost a lot of the yellow. So let's punch that up by pushing some white towards the bottom of the letters and reapplying the yellow fluorescent. All that's left to do is assemble the model and reveal the completed piece. I hope you enjoyed this diversion from my usual type of content. I'll be back from Second Wind soon with some gameplay commentaries and maybe a podcast, but until then, don't forget that fun is a finite resource.